Hello everyone. Rhinos are the second largest land animals on Earth. They are called the armored giants. They spend their time looking for food and establishing their ecosystem. Therefore, their presence is vital for the ecosystem to flourish. Rhinos are also some of the most critically endangered animals on Earth, and it's due to that reason why the 22nd of September is celebrated as World Rhino Day. World Rhino Day is a day of awareness for all of the 5 rhino species and the work being done to save them. Since 2011, World Rhino Day has been celebrated internationally on September the 22nd. On World Rhino Day, the International Rhino Foundation celebrates rhinos and all those around the world who care about them. Let's look at the 5 species of rhinos that are currently extant today, which means they live today. The rhinoceros is our planet's armored giant. There are 5 species of rhino: white and black rhinos in Africa, and the greater one-horned rhino, JAVAN rhino, and SUMATRAN rhino species in Asia. To coincide with World Rhino Day, we'd like to invite you to get to know more about this critically endangered species and how they desperately need your help. The rhino family. White rhino. The white rhino lives in Africa, in long and short grass savannas. The white rhinoceros is the largest extant species of rhinoceros. White rhinos are grazers. Its wide, square upper lip is adapted for feeding on grasses. White rhinos can live to be 35 to 40 years of age. Gestation lasts approximately 16 months, and mothers give birth to 1 calf every 2 to 3 years. But why the name white rhino? White rhinoceros is taken from the Afrikaans word describing its mouth, white, meaning wide. Early English settlers misinterpreted the white for the color white. It is also sometimes called the square-lipped rhinoceros. White rhinos have 2 horns. The larger front horn measures 37 to 79 inches long. That is equal to 94 to 201 centimeters. The rear horn measures up to 22 inches or 55 centimeters long. The scientific name of the white rhino is Ceratotherium cymum. Ceratotherium from the Greek cerato, meaning horn, and thorium, meaning wild beast, and cymum from the Greek word cymus, meaning flat-nosed. Now let's look at the other species of rhino living in Africa, the black rhino. The black rhinoceros, or hook-lipped rhinoceros, which goes by the scientific name Diceros bicornis, is a species of rhinoceros native to eastern and southern Africa. Although the rhinoceros is referred to as black, its colors vary from brown to gray. Black rhinos are browsers. Their prehensile upper lip is adapted for grasping and holding leaves and branches of shrubs and trees. Black rhinos can live to be 35 to 40 years old in the wild. Gestation lasts approximately 15 to 16 months, and mothers give birth to 1 calf every 2.5 to 3 years. While females and sub-adults generally are social, bulls are typically solitary. Black rhinos have 2 horns. The front horn is larger and the rear horn is smaller. Now let's look at the Asian rhinos. The greater one-horned rhinoceros. The greater one-horned rhinoceros, also known as Rhinoceros unicornis or the Great Indian Rhinoceros, lives in northern India and southern Nepal, in riverine or floodplain, grasslands, and adjacent woodland. Greater one-horned rhinos are grazers. When not grazing on land, animals like to immerse themselves in water, where they also graze on aquatic plants. The greater one-horned rhino has a single horn which measures 8 to 24 inches long. Gestation lasts approximately 15 to 16 months, and mothers give birth to one calf every 2 to 3 years. Greater one-horned rhinos are usually solitary, except for females with their young. Males maintain loosely defended territories. The JAVAN rhino. The JAVAN rhinoceros, also known as Rhinoceros sondicus, which is also known as the Sunda rhinoceros, is a very rare member of the 5 extant rhinoceroses. The JAVAN rhino is found only in Indonesia's Ujung Kulon National Park in West Java. JAVAN rhinos are solitary in nature and are rarely seen. Longevity is unknown, but JAVAN rhinos probably live to 35 to 40 years. The JAVAN rhino possesses a single horn which is 10 inches or 25 centimeters long in males. Females do not appear to have prominent horns. JAVAN rhinos appear to be more adaptable feeders than other rhino species. In the tropical rainforest where the species now survives, it is a pure browser. But it possibly was a mixed feeder, both browsing and grass, in other parts of its historic range. Biologists have identified more than 300 different species that comprise their diet. The Sumatran rhino. The Sumatran rhino, also known as the hairy rhinoceros or Asian two-horned rhinoceros, with its scientific name being Dicerorhinus sumatrensis, is a rare member of the family. It is also the smallest rhinoceros among the 5 species. The Sumatran rhino lives in dense tropical forest, both lowland and highland, mainly on the Indonesian island of Sumatra. This species is a browser and an opportunistic feeder with a very varied diet that may include more than 100 plant species. These tropical forest dwellers are generally solitary in nature. Sumatran rhinos have 2 horns. The front horn is larger and measures 10 to 31 inches, that is 25 to 79 centimeters long. The second horn is smaller, generally less than 3 inches or 10 centimeters long. Sumatran rhinos live between 35 and 40 years. Gestation lasts approximately 15 to 16 months, and cows are believed to give birth to one calf about every 3 years. Rhinos, all of them are in a crisis. 4 out of the 5 species remaining are threatened with extinction. 3 of those are critically endangered, which means they could go extinct in our lifetime. If we look at the 5 species, the white rhino appears safe, with over 17,212 to 18,915 members still alive. The greater one-horned rhinoceros has a population slightly above 3,600 members. The black rhinoceros have a population ranging from 5,366 to 5,627 members. The Sumatran rhino is critically endangered, with it having less than 80 members. The JAVAN rhino is even more endangered, with only 74 members remaining in the wild. But why are rhinos in a crisis? These are the following reasons: record poaching, growing demand for rhino horn, habitat fragmentation. In the last decade, poachers have killed almost 10,000 rhinos to feed the demand for rhino's horn on the black market. Rhinos are poached for their signature horn, which, by the way, is made out of keratin, the same stuff found in your hair and fingernails. Some consumers use rhino horns in traditional medicine to cure many diseases. However, there is no scientific evidence that rhino horn has any medicinal value. Other consumers also use rhino horn as a status symbol and as a show of wealth. If rhino deaths outpace births, their population will continue to decline. Human development in the rhino's habitat has chopped up landscapes where rhinos live, leading to small, isolated populations that cannot get together to breed. Dividing a habitat prevents rhinos from breeding. Why are rhinos so important for our ecosystems? Rhinos are what we call a keystone species, one whose presence and role within an ecosystem has a disproportionate effect on other organisms within the system. That is why we should fight to keep rhinos alive in our wild ecosystems. The rhino has several essential roles. Unlike other keystone species, such as lions and wolves that are apex predators, the rhino is a mega herbivore that significantly alters the habitat around it, and thus affects large numbers of other organisms, the very definition of a keystone species. What do rhinos do in the ecosystem? Geoforming, fundamentally reshaping the land around them over time. By wallowing in mud puddles, rhinos help to create natural waterholes and keep existing waterholes open. Also, each time a rhino wallows, a considerable amount of mud is removed, and as it dries or is rubbed off, the fertile alluvial soil that accumulates in dams and natural waterholes is distributed far and wide, enriching the soil far from the wallow. Rhinos not only help keep dams and waterholes open, but are also responsible for the mini wallow dams dotted around the edge of dams and waterholes that afford species coming to drink, such as tambourine doves, some protection from predation by terrapins. These mini dams also generally hold water in a way that allows antelope to have a drink with less danger of getting stuck in the mud, thus making them less vulnerable to attacks by predators who often hunt at permanent water sources. Spreading nutrients and providing the basis of complex food chains. Rhinos consume more than 50 kilograms of vegetation per day and deposit more than 20 kilograms of dung. Females wander around their home ranges, depositing dung, and males wander around their territories, creating dung middens, which are spots that are habitually used for defecation, as a territorial marking mechanism. This dung fertilizes the soil and provides livelihoods for many other species. Once dung is deposited, it's not long before dung beetles arrive at the party. Dung beetles establish their claim to a good piece of dung by rolling it away post-haste. Once away from the dung scene, they lay their eggs in the dung ball and bury it. Some of these carefully buried brood chambers are a nutritious snack once the larvae are developed, and little carnivores or omnivores, such as slender mongoose, benefit greatly. Crested guinea fowl and other large birds scratch through the dung treasure trove, looking for both insects and, later in the season, undigested seed. Playing host to scores of ectoparasites and other sophisticated food chain service. Rhinos are plagued by ectoparasites such as the rhino fly, which can be seen through binoculars by the score on the flanks of the white rhino. The rhinoceros stomach botflies spend a large part of their life cycle in the stomach of the rhino, and their existence is so tightly bound to that of rhinos that their numbers decline sharply when rhino numbers decline. Rhinos are host to ticks too. The ticks, in turn, sustain other species such as oxpeckers, which eat them. A rhino host carrying a plethora of ticks is so prized by oxpeckers that following the flight path of these noisy birds is often the easiest way to locate the rhinos themselves. Terrapins too feed on the ticks carried by rhinos when rhinos drink and wallow at waterholes. Modify vegetation by establishing and maintaining short grass lawns. Short grass lawns are essential for the survival of certain plants. For example, short annual grasses such as Tragus berteronianus, which is also known as carrot seed grass, in an otherwise perennial grass sward. Ungulates such as wildebeest and birds such as longclaws, larks, and pipits. These species cannot survive in wooded or long grass ecosystems. White rhinos mow the grass to a height that provides suitable habitat for these species. These rhino lawns also act as areas of sanctuary during wildfires, for slow-moving turtles, for example, and for other plant species that cannot tolerate fire. Why the rhino matters. Rhinos are one of the most beautiful and longest living mammals on Earth. Now, being endangered, it's our job to protect them. Help those who don't have a voice. Help those who are defenseless. Rhinos have been on Earth for around 15 million years, and it's our job to keep them here. As big and as strong as they look, humans are their biggest threat. This ranges from poaching to habitat loss. Saving the rhinos would not only keep an amazing animal on Earth, but also saving the crucial role in the ecosystems they affect. This video was brought to you by Brain Blitz Audios. We are a YouTube channel that focuses on providing educational content. To learn more about us, visit us on YouTube, www.youtube.com/c/brainblitzaudios. That's all for today. Until the next awareness video, take care, stay safe, bye-bye for now.